So, as they say, la lucha continua, the struggle goes on. And one of the great struggles of our time is the struggle around police violence against people of color. And I thought, I can't write about this, there's no way I can write about this, and then I wrote about this. This poem refers to 8 documented cases of lethal police violence against people of color. And some of them will be familiar to you. Eric Garner, Walter Scott, Michael Brown. Some of them you've never heard of. The case of Martín Tito Pérez, who was a friend of my father's. Martín Tito Pérez was a musician and a photographer. He was arrested for playing the congas on the subway and taken to the precinct house in East Harlem. And a few hours later, he was wheeled out on a stretcher, dead, with his hands still cuffed behind his back. And a grand jury ruled that yes, it is physically possible for a man to hang himself with his hands cuffed behind his back. That was 1974. I think they call it the changing same, yes? So, this is a poem called How We Could Have Lived or Died This Way, epigraph. Not songs of loyalty alone are these, but songs of insurrection also, for I am the sworn poet of every dauntless rebel the world over. Walt Whitman. I see the dark-skinned bodies falling in the street as their ancestors fell before the whip and steel, the last blood pooling, the last breath spitting. I see the immigrant street vendor flashing his wallet to the cops, shot so many times there are bullet holes in the soles of his feet. I see the deaf wood carver and his pocket knife crossing the street in front of a cop who yells, then fires. I see the drug raid, the wrong door kicked in the minister's heart, seizing up. I see the man hawking a fistful of cigarettes, the cop's choke hold that makes his wheezing lungs stop wheezing forever. I am in the crowd, at the window, kneeling beside the body left on the asphalt for hours, covered in a sheet. I see the suicides. The conga player handcuffed for drumming on the subway, hanged in the jail cell with his hands cuffed behind him. The suspect leaking blood from his chest in the back seat of the squad car. The 300-pound boy said to stampede bare-handed into the bullets drilling his forehead. I see the coroner nodding, the words he types in his report burrowing into the skin like more bullets. I see the government investigation stacking words buzzing on the page, then suffocated as bees suffocate in a jar. I see the next black man fleeing as the fugitive slave once fled the slave catcher, shot in the back for a broken tail light. I see the cop handcuff the corpse. I see the rebels marching, hands upraised before the riot squads, faces in bandanas against the tear gas, and I walk beside them unseen. I see the poets who will write the songs of insurrection. Generations unborn will read or hear a century from now, words that make the wonder how we could have lived or died this way, how the descendants of slaves still fled, and the descendants of slave catchers still shot them, how we awoke every morning without the blood of the dead sweating from every pore.